Everyone, today it is a revision session for you. We are going to start revising chapter number 1, that is your chemical reactions and equations. The revision of this chapter will be done in two parts. In today's session I'll be revising how to balance a chemical equation and few types of chemical reaction like your combination reaction, displacement reaction and decomposition reaction. So to begin with, I'll start with the chemical equations and how to balance a chemical equation. You all know what is a chemical equation. Chemical equation is a symbolic representation of a chemical reaction. So in this you write the name of the elements taking part in the chemical reaction and the product formed by using chemical symbols, right? So the reactants are taken on the left hand side and the products are taken on the right hand side. So here this portion is your reactant side and this is your product side. Okay, so this is your product side and this is your reactant side. Okay, so now I've used the symbols zinc Zn, CuSO4 is copper sulfate, gives you zinc sulfate and copper. So the product form is zinc sulfate and copper and the reactants are zinc and copper sulfate. Now how to balance a chemical equation? See here, I've given an example here. Aluminium with hydrochloric acid gives, that is Al plus HCl gives AlCl3 plus H2. I call this equation as an unbalanced equation. Why? Because the condition for a balanced equation is that the number of atoms of elements present on the right hand side and on the product side should be equal. So here what are the reactants? Your aluminium and hydrochloric acid, that is Al and HCl. Number of atoms I've written, see, Al is 1, hydrogen is 1, chlorine is 1 and the product formed is AlCl3 and H2. So Al is 1, Cl is 3 and your hydrogen is 2. See, look at the numbers here. Here all 1, 1, 1. Here your aluminium, both sides are equal. Your chlorine and hydrogen are not equal here. So I have to make them equal. What should I do to make them equal? I've already taught you, whenever you have to balance a chemical equation, you have to put the number as a coefficient. You cannot write it in the subscript, whatever number you want. So whenever I use a coefficient, that number belongs to the entire elements present in the compound. Okay, so now let's see how to balance this chemical equation. See here, I've written again, aluminium is 1, hydrogen is 1, chlorine is 3 on your right hand side and 1 on the left hand side. Now let me begin with chlorine. See, this chlorine on the right hand side I can increase any number. If I want to make the hydrogen equal, if I put Al, see here, if I put Al plus 2HCl and I write AlCl3 plus H2, my hydrogen will be balanced, but the chlorine, here it will be 2, here it is 3, so it goes unbalanced. But this chlorine cannot be made 2, you cannot reduce, you have to keep increasing. This 3 cannot be made 4, you have to use multiplication only, no addition here. So now if I want to increase the chlorine, I have to make it 6. So what can I do to make it 6? If I multiply this chlorine, 3 atoms by 2, this chlorine becomes 6. So in this case, if I put a 6 here, my chlorine is becoming 6, but at the same time the hydrogen is also increasing by 6. So this side I can make the hydrogen 6 by putting a 3 here, because my 3 into 2 will give me 6 hydrogen atoms. So when I do like this 2 when I put here, I cannot put here, I have to put it here, right? So when I put it here, aluminium is also increasing by 2. So that 2 I have to put here. So now the equation becomes balanced. So when I write 2Al plus 6HCl gives 2AlCl3 plus 3H2. It's a balanced equation. I've mentioned here, see, if I make this chlorine 6, here also it becomes 6. So when I do that, what happens here? This side chlorine is not existing independently. It is existing with hydrogen in the form of hydrochloric acid. So my hydrogen is also becoming 6. This side I can make the hydrogen 6 by putting a 3 there, right? If I put a 3 here, 3 2s are, hydrogen is becoming 6. So the number of atoms of chlorine and hydrogen is equal. So that 2 I cannot put here, I have to put it here. So when I put it in the as a coefficient in this side, chlorine becomes 6, aluminum is increasing by 2. So to make it equal, I have to put a 2 here to this aluminum. So it becomes 2Al plus 6HCl gives 2AlCl3 plus 3H2. This is the balanced form now, because the number of atoms of elements present on the reactant side and the product sides are equal. See here, aluminum 2, here also 2. Hydrogen is 6, here also 6. Your chlorine is 6. Your on the right side also chlorine is 6. We'll see one more example. Let's see how to balance this equation. Sodium carbonate, that is Na2CO3 with the hydrochloric acid gives you sodium chloride, water and carbon dioxide. Now let's see the number of atoms on both sides of the elements present on your left hand side and on your right hand side. Sodium is 2 on the left hand side, and on the right side your sodium is only 1. Then your carbon is 1 on the left hand side, and on the right hand side also it is equal to 1. Oxygen is 3 on your left hand side. On the right hand side also you have 3. How 3? With carbon dioxide you have 2 atoms of oxygen, and with water you have 1 atom of oxygen. So when you add that you get 3 atoms of oxygen. Hydrogen is 2 on the right hand side and 1 on the left hand side. Chlorine on both the sides is equal to 1. So which are the elements that are not, whose atoms are not equal on both the sides? Your sodium is not equal, because on the LHS you have 2 and on the RHS you have only 1. And your hydrogen is also not equal, because on the LHS you have only 1 and on the RHS you have 2. Now these two should be, rest are all balanced. These two should be made equal. So on the RHS, if I multiply on the RHS, Na, it's only 1. NaCl is given, no? So if I, this is only 1 atom of sodium here. If I multiply by 2, I'll put a 2 here. When I do this 2, my chlorine is also becoming 2. So on this side, your chlorine is coming with hydrochloric acid. So I'll put a 2 here. So chlorine becomes 2 and your hydrogen is also 2. On this side, it is H2O plus CO2, right? So H is 2. So this side, no problem. It is getting balanced. So now when I put the equation in this way, that is, the equation is Na2CO3 plus 2HCl gives NaCl plus H2O plus CO2. Now when I put a 2 here, your chlorine is also becoming 2 there. Now hydrogen is also 2 on this side on your RHS. So on the LHS also, by putting a 2 there, hydrogen is also becoming 2. Oxygen on both the sides it's equal to 3. Your carbon on both the sides is equal to 1. And your chlorine, we have already done that, whatever has to be done. Both the sides becoming 2 now. So now the equation is balanced. So the balanced form of Na2CO3, that is your balanced form of Na2CO3 plus HCl gives NaCl plus H2O plus CO2. The balanced form would be by putting a 2 here. To increase sodium, I am putting a 2. When I increase the sodium, my chlorine is also increasing by 2. So when I put the 2 here, hydrogen gets balanced on both the sides. Here also 2, here also it's 2. Okay. So now the equation is balanced. Oxygen is 3 here. Here you have with water 1 oxygen, with carbon dioxide 2. So it becomes 3. So this is the balanced form of this. I have given 2 more equations here along with the answer. What you have to do is you have to copy down the question on a paper or in your notebook, and then you try to balance by writing the elements present, number of atoms of elements present on your left hand side and right hand side. Then see whether it is balanced or unbalanced. Then you try to balance. I've given the answer also. You can check out with that. You try. This is for your trial. And in the first video, I've taught you how to balance a chemical equation. I'll explain if you want one example here. First is Fe2O3 plus CO gives you Fe plus CO2. Here on the LHS your ion is 2, on the RHS your ion is 1. So to make it balance I put a 2 there. So when I put a 2 here, my Fe is becoming 2. Now look at the oxygen atoms here. On the LHS it is 4 and on the RHS I have only 2. So to make it equal, I cannot reduce, I said I have to increase. When I put a 3, oxygen becomes 6. By carbon is also increasing by 3. So to compensate that, when I write 3CO, my oxygen becomes balanced, because with Fe2O3 I have 3 atoms of oxygen, and here with carbon monoxide you have 3 atoms of oxygen when I put a 3 there. So 3 plus 3 will give you 6. On this side 3 into 2 will give you 6. Another example is also given. You try to practice in a notebook, and you can refer your textbook also. At the end of the lesson few equations are given. You try to balance those equations. Next we will begin with types of chemical reactions. Already taught, it's as a small revision only for you. First type of reaction that we have learnt is combination reaction. In that, 2 or more reactants combine together to give you a single product. I have given you examples: formation of sulfuric acid, iron sulfide, and all that, ammonium chloride, water. These are all examples for your combination reaction. Here you can see 2 or more reactants combine together to give you single product. Then decomposition reaction, a compound is split into its constituent elements. That is what is called as decomposition reaction. So decomposition to take place, you have to either pass electric current or you have to expose it to sunlight. We have done this already. So I have shown 2 examples, that decomposition of silver chloride and silver bromide. Okay, silver chloride gets decomposed, that is AgCl. It decomposes into AgNCl2. Your silver bromide decomposes into AgNBr2. So these are the 2 examples. Next, exothermic reaction. A reaction in which heat is given out is what is called as your exothermic reaction. I have given an example. Your calcium oxide combines with water to give you calcium hydroxide and liberates heat. You remember activity was also shown in that video. When you touch the sides of the beaker, you will feel it warm, because the heat is getting evolved there, right? So when the heat is given out, we call it as a exothermic reaction. So this reaction can also be called as a combination reaction, because 2 reactants combine together to give you single product. Your calcium oxide and water, or the 2 reactants, they combine together to give you a single product, that is your slaked lime. Please listen these names. Calcium oxide is quicklime, your calcium hydroxide is your slaked lime. Okay, so next is your endothermic reaction, a reaction in which heat is absorbed, which takes in heat. It happens by heating, by giving heat to that reactant. Your calcium carbonate, that is your limestone, when it is heated to above 900 degrees C, it decomposes into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So this is an example for endothermic. Exothermic is absorption of heat. Is it so? No, release of heat. Exothermic, exo means exit, release of heat. Endo means absorption. Normally people get confused when they say exothermic. Immediately first means absorption. No, remember, exo, exit. So it is giving out heat, and endothermic is absorption of heat. Next, it's displacement reaction. We have seen this already. You know that in this, a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element. An activity was shown to you. An iron nail was dipped inside a copper sulfate solution. So what happens? Copper gets displaced from copper sulfate. So iron is more reactive than copper. So iron displaces copper from copper sulfate, right? That was the activity that was shown in the first video. Now I have given one more example. Your zinc combines with hydrogen sulfide to form hydrogen and zinc sulfide. Here hydrogen is displaced by zinc. So when an element displaces another element from its respective compound of lower reactivity, so hydrogen is less reactive when compared to zinc. So a more reactive element, that is your zinc, displaces a less reactive element, that is hydrogen, from hydrogen sulfide. Okay, so this is an example for displacement reaction. Next, I've got you 2 questions. This is very common, it's this is asked in your board. This type of question is asked in your board also. So here there are 2 statements given. One is assertion, another one is reasoning, and they have given you 4 options. See here, one is A stands for assertion and R stands for reasoning. First option is both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation for assertion A. B. Both A and R are true and R is not the correct explanation for the assertion A. Assertion is true but reason is false. Assertion is false but reason is true. You have to select one option by looking at the statements given. Assertion, I have given here, rusting of iron is a chemical change. Yes, assertion is true here. The chemical properties of hydrated iron oxide are different from iron and oxygen. Normally, whenever a chemical reaction takes place, a chemical change happens, a new product is formed which will have properties totally different from its parent element. That is what is mentioned here. So both the statements are right. So both assertion and reason are true and R is the correct explanation for the assertion A. Other things will not match here. See here. Assertion is rusting of iron is a chemical change. Iron, when it is exposed to moisture, oxygen and all, it gets corroded and forms iron oxide. We are seeing that, which is a new product. So your reason given is the chemical properties of hydrated iron oxide, that is your corroded iron, right? Rust is different from iron and oxygen. True. So both assertion and reason are true and R is the correct explanation for A. When you practice more such questions, no, you will get used to it. So answer is both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation for assertion A. Next, I have given you one more example, you see. See here, color of assertion. Color of copper sulfate does not change when iron nail is kept immersed in it. Reason, iron is more reactive than copper and it displaces it. Second, reason is true. Iron is more reactive than copper. We saw that, na? Fe plus CuSO4 gives FeSO4 plus Cu. So in a displacement reaction, a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element. So when copper is displaced from copper sulfate, what is displacing? Iron. Therefore iron is more reactive than copper. So that is true. Color of copper sulfate does not change when iron nail is kept immersed in it. Copper sulfate, which is blue in color, when it becomes iron sulfate, it becomes pale green in color. So that is a wrong statement. So according to this, your D, option D will be the answer. A is false, but R is true. Iron is more reactive than copper is true, but copper sulfate does not lose its color when iron nail is dipped in it is false. Because copper sulfate, which is blue in color, when iron nail is dipped in it due to displacement reaction, your iron displaces copper from copper sulfate. So copper comes separately. Therefore iron becomes iron sulfate, that is pale green in color. Okay, so you keep practicing such questions. Many such questions are available on your net also. You can verify those questions. So with this, I'm coming to an end of this session, today's session. We'll meet in the next class very soon. Till then, you keep studying, practice well, practice all your balancing equations, this assertion reason type of questions. Okay, do well. Have a nice day. Goodbye.